She was supposed to stand beside me at the altar. Turns out she was already in his bed. We'd been best friends for as long as I could remember, the kind of bond that felt more like family than friendship we met when we were kids back when scraped knees and pinky promises felt like the most serious things in the world. Or maybe it was college if we're being technical. But either way, from the moment we connected, that was it. We just clicked. She was my person. We went through everything together: bad breakups, all night study sessions, family drama, crappy jobs, birthdays, funerals. Everything. She knew me inside and out, and I knew her too. Or at least I thought I did so when I got engaged. It wasn't even a question who my maid of honor would be. It was always going to be her. That was the plan. Since forever, we used to joke about our future weddings, drawing up Pinterest boards and rating celebrity dresses like we had any clue what we were talking about. And now it was real, my wedding. And she was right there beside me. Just like I always imagined my fiance was everything I'd hoped for: charming, respectful, easy to talk to, the kind of guy who actually listens, like really listens, remembers your favorite snacks and the name of your high school dog. He had this quiet confidence and a warm smile that made you feel safe. Not flashy, not fake. Just solid. When he proposed, I didn't even hesitate. I said yes. Before he finished the sentence, planning the wedding was intense, I won't lie. There were moments when I felt like I was drowning in guest lists, seating charts, vendor contracts, dress fittings, and a million tiny decisions that all somehow felt critical. But she made it bearable. She was helping with everything: venue tours, cake tastings, bridesmaid dress, drama, even convincing my mom not to invite her, weird coworker from HR. She made me laugh when I wanted to cry, took charge when I froze. There were nights we sat on the floor, drinking wine and stuffing invitations into envelopes while she made fun of my handwriting. We even had this running joke that if I ever backed out, she'd marry him instead, because he was almost too good to be real. And everything really did look perfect on the surface, like a dream you don't want to wake up from. But dreams have a way of turning it. Started small, subtle, just little things that didn't feel like a big deal. At the time, she began inserting herself into decisions that weren't hers to make, like insisting we change the florist because she knew someone better, or reworking my seating chart because she thought certain people should sit closer to the front. She even tried to override my choice of bridesmaid dresses, said the color I picked washed everyone out, everyone or just her. At first, I chalked it up to her being overexcited. She'd always been a little type A, and I figured maybe she just wanted everything to be perfect for me. But slowly, it started to feel like the wedding wasn't mine anymore. It was ours, mine, and hers. She had opinions on everything, even the vows, my vows. And then there was the way she and my fiance started acting around each other. It wasn't obvious, at least not right away. They joked a lot, laughed easily. Sometimes they'd tease me together, gang up on me in a playful way, the kind of stuff that could be harmless between two people who are just really close friends of the same person. And every time I gave them a look, they'd brush it off, relax, it's just chemistry. We're like siblings, but it didn't feel like siblings. Not to me. There was a moment, a throwaway line from someone at my bridal shower. We were all a few drinks in, and someone laughed and said, "You three are always together. People are going to start thinking you're a throuple." Everyone laughed, including them. I forced a smile, but my stomach flipped. It wasn't funny, not to me. Still, I didn't want to be the jealous, paranoid bride. That's not who I am. So I buried it, pushed it down until one night he told me he was working late. I didn't think twice. He wasn't the lying type, or so I believed. But hours later, I checked his location out of habit, and he wasn't at the office. He was across town at a bar with her. I confronted him the next morning calmly. He looked surprised but not rattled, said she needed to talk about something personal, something she didn't want to share with anyone else, and she called him. So he met her? No big deal. He said we had a drink. She cried a little. I didn't tell you because I knew you'd make it into something. It's not. He said all the right things, all the rational things, but my gut, it was screaming. It was exactly 1 week before the wedding. I remember the day, too. Clearly, I was at home finalizing the playlist with our DJ, surrounded by half-opened gift boxes and tissue paper, when my phone buzzed a voicemail from my fiancé. Weird. I hadn't missed a call. I played it, except it wasn't meant for me. It was short, maybe every 10 seconds, muffled his voice low and rushed. I miss you already. Last night was God. I can't stop thinking about it. Text me when she's not around. Silence. I sat there frozen, replayed it 3 times before it hit me. I was the Shia. He hadn't called me at all. He called her, and somehow that message ended up on my voicemail. My hands were shaking. I told myself it was a mistake. Maybe it was a joke. Maybe there was some explanation. But my gut, that knot I'd been ignoring for weeks, suddenly pulled tight like a noose I needed to know. So I checked his iPad, the one synced to his messages. He always left it around like it was nothing, like he had nothing to hide. But that night, it held everything. The texts were right there, weeks of them, flirty, late night messages. I can't wait to see you again. Wish you were here. Do you think she suspects anything? One message from her. You make me feel like I'm the one getting married. I couldn't breathe. It wasn't emotional cheating. It wasn't vague. It was real. They'd crossed every line. I didn't confront them right away. I needed more. I needed proof, the kind no one could deny. So I started looking deeper. I found hotel receipts, one in her name paid for with his card. The date, the night he worked late. And just when I thought I'd seen the worst, I walked into our rehearsal venue to pick up a folder I'd left behind. And there they were in the back hallway, alone. She had her hand on his chest. He was smiling down at her. They didn't see me at first, but when they did, their faces said it all. No words, no excuses, just guilt. It was the first honest moment I'd seen from either of them in weeks. I called off the wedding that night. No long speeches, no dramatic public confrontation. I just shut it down. I texted the venue, the caterer, the planner. It's off. I didn't even have the strength to say why. Then I turned off my phone and sat in the dark for hours, staring at my hands, feeling like they didn't even belong to me. The next day, the fallout began. He showed up at my door. Eyes red, voice shaky. He said it was a mistake. A moment of weakness, claimed it didn't mean anything, that it was just once liar. He tried to hold my hand. I stepped back. Then she called, crying, begging, said she hated herself for what happened, swore it just happened that one time, that she never meant for it to go this far, that she still wanted to stand by me as my friend. Like that word still meant anything between us. The worst part, some people actually took their side. Not all of them, but enough to sting. A few mutual friends told me I should think it over, that maybe it didn't mean as much to him as it does to you. One even said, at least it happened before the wedding, right? Like I should be grateful for finding out in time. Others were furious on my behalf. My sister nearly drove to her apartment to scream at her. A couple of friends cut them off completely without me even asking. And my mom, she was devastated. She kept asking what she could have done differently to protect me. Like this was her failure, but none of it helped. The damage was done, and I was the one left standing in the wreckage. I had to call the bridal boutique and cancel the final fitting. They asked if I wanted to reschedule. I couldn't get the words out. I just hung up thousands of dollars, gone, deposits I'd never see again, decorations stacked in my living room like ghosts of a future that didn't happen. My wedding dress hung in the corner, covered in a plastic bag that looked more like a body bag. Every time I glanced at it, and the shame. God, the shame. It wasn't just heartbreak, it was humiliation. Everyone knew, everyone would know, every text, every post, every invite. Now a reminder that I'd built my life around a lie. I stopped answering calls, stopped checking messages, canceled plans, deleted social media. I didn't want comfort. I didn't want pep talks. I wanted silence. I needed to fall apart alone. So I let myself grieve, let myself spiral. Some days I cried until I physically couldn't anymore. Other days I felt absolutely nothing. I'd stare at the ceiling for hours, too tired to move. Too angry to sleep. Food tasted like ash music, made me want to scream. The apartment was too quiet, but any noise felt like too much. I needed space from everyone, especially them. A few weeks later, when the worst of the storm had settled, but only just, I made the mistake of going back through the old messages again. Not hers. We used to sync our laptops during school to work on group projects, and her Apple ID was still signed in on my old computer. I hadn't opened it in years, but something pulled me to it. And there it was, months worth of messages, not just a one time slip up, not just a heat of the moment mistake. Like they'd both claimed they had been flirting since before we got engaged, back when she was helping me pick out rings. I liked she was sending him selfies, complaining about how hard it was to watch her best friend get everything she wanted. She called me clueless, said I was too trusting, even joked about how easy it would be to get between us if she wanted to. And the worst part, she wasn't wrong. He played right into it, told her she was beautiful, smart, easier to talk to. He told her things I'd said in private stuff about my fears, my insecurities, and she used it, twisted it. She told him I'd been distant, that I was more in love with the idea of marriage than with him. She poked holes in our relationship until he saw cracks that weren't there and then slipped into them. She was in his ear and he let her in. It wasn't even about love between them. It was control ego, jealousy. She wanted to prove she could have him, that she was just as desirable, just as loved, maybe more. And when I replayed everything in my head, it all started to make sense every time she made a joke that felt like a jab. Every time she lingered too long when they hugged, that night we went out drinking. And she said, if I didn't love you so much, I'd steal your man. I laughed at the time. God, I laughed. She was never really happy for me. She watched me fall in love. She helped me plan every part of a future she was actively trying to destroy. She smiled in my face while texting him under the table, and every flashback, every shared laugh between them, that I brushed off every time I left the room and came back to awkward silence, it all came rushing back like a reel from a horror film. I didn't realize I was starring in. I felt sick. Not just from betrayal, but from how blind I'd been. I blocked them both. No dramatic goodbye texts. No last words. Just a full stop phone, email, socials, everything. I scrubbed them out of my life like a stain. I refused to let set in any deeper. And then I disappeared, or at least I tried to. But of course, she couldn't help herself. A week after I went no contact, she posted a selfie fake smile. Fresh manicure, captioned, some storms come to clear your path. No mention of me, no mention of what she'd done, just vibes and emojis, like she was starring in some personal growth movie no one asked to watch. Her comments were full of clueless friends saying, you're glowing, girl, and proud of you for staying strong. It made me sick. She looked untouched, unbothered, like betraying your best friend was just a spiritual detour. Meanwhile, I was picking myself up from the floor every single day. Then months later, just when I finally started sleeping again, finally stopped checking the locks 3 times a night, finally exhaled without feeling like my ribs would collapse, he reached out, new number, new email. Same old desperation, he wrote. I know you probably hate me. I just want you to know I made a huge mistake. I still think about you every day. I ruined the best thing that ever happened to me. I didn't respond. Not because I didn't have words, but because I had too many. None of which he deserved. By then, I was in therapy. I was still angry, still grieving, but no longer drowning in it. I was slowly, painfully rebuilding. Some days I hated myself for not seeing it sooner. Other days, I reminded myself that trust isn't a flaw. It's a strength even when people abuse it. I wasn't healed, not completely, but I was healing, and they no longer got to be part of the story. Eventually, I started over a new city, new apartment with sunlight in the mornings and silence at night, a job that didn't drain the life out of me. I signed up for classes, got a bike, learned to cook something besides pasta. I even started dating again, cautiously, quietly. No fairy tales, no expectations, just honest conversations and coffee dates that didn't end in lies. I wasn't looking to erase the past. I just didn't want it to define me anymore. Then, out of nowhere, I heard they were together. At least for a while, a mutual friend slipped it into a conversation, like it was just background noise. Yeah, they tried to make it work, but it blew up fast, toxic as hell. Apparently, she dumped him not long after some dramatic fight accusations, cheating the usual spiral. No surprise, I didn't feel smug. I didn't feel sad. I felt nothing, just done. She may have slept with my fiancé, but she lost something bigger. She lost me, and I'll never let her back into my life again.